Honorable Administrator of Pachayappa's Trust, Justice Parthiban, and Honorable Secretary of Pachayappa's Trust, Mr. Duraikannu, and beloved Principal of Pachayappa's College and Principals of other colleges, constituent colleges of Pachayappa's Trust, and the directors, deans, faculty members, and staff, good morning. It's my honor, and I'm very much pleased to stand on this dais, not because you gave me an opportunity, but this land and this premise is a very prestigious and precious premise wherein the alumni, the distinguished alumni of this institution are spreaded the length and width of the world, not just only in India. Ramanujam, mathematician, Arinjan Anna. There are a lot of luminaries this institution has produced and prepared them to become leaders in their own areas. And I first would like to thank our Honorable Secretary, the Principal, and the management of this institution for inviting me to share few ideas about education today. Unfortunately, our administrator is not present, and on behalf of him I also have been requested to deliver the inaugural address, and afterwards I will make my keynote address. That will have a lot of technical contents, but I would like to say something about why are we holding this orientation. About 2 years ago, I addressed the orientation in Loyola College, where I felt something different. And I have visited Oxford University, Stanford, California, Berkeley, when I was working in the United States of America, Western Michigan University. And almost all top universities in the world I have visited: South Korea, Singapore, Malaysia, and so many other, England. But when I entered Oxford University, the same feeling I feel that when I entered here, honestly. It is not something that is boasting of ourselves. But look at this building. The magnanimity of this building is not paralleled in any five-star category universities mushroomed in the recent times in India. Because that's why I asked him, our secretary, when was this built? It was almost more than 150 years old. And the oldness and the sweetness attached to this premise or the witness today and the academic excellence. We are not in the top 100, I don't know, in the NIRF, the so-called NIRF. We may not be in the top 100, but we may not be, I don't know, what is the NAC accreditation, A plus or A plus, which are used highly for marketing by many universities. It is a propaganda material nowadays, NIRF and NAC accreditations. I don't know where you are. Probably you might be less than many universities and top colleges, so-called top colleges, in terms of accreditation, grading, and the NIRF ranking. But beyond that, what an institution, higher education institution or university is supposed to be valued, in what terms, if you ask me, I would say that in a way that how an institution is playing a catalytic role, an instrumental role in transforming society. This is my standard, not only my standard. You go to any universities all across the world, Oxford University, Cambridge University, Harvard University, all universities are reclaiming, reinventing themselves to become, how can we play an instrumental role in transforming lives, in transforming societies in contemporary time. This is how higher education institutions in the progressive world are progressing. But based on this yardstick, norms and conditions expected of a higher education institution, be it a college or a university, I don't see many institutions fit for higher education to be called as higher education institutions or universities. They claim they are universities. They claim they are A++ NAC. They claim that they are top 100 in the NIRF ranking. They claim that they are in the top 500 in QS and Times Higher Education Shanghai ranking and so on. But all these things are immaterial to the 21st century, because the world is becoming so much of, chaotic and turbulent conditions. People are going through psychologically troubled conditions all over the world. It is not just only peculiar to India. It is all over the world. People are under tension, under stressful life conditions. And there are a lot of challenges in terms of the global warming, climatic conditions, environmental conditions, no jobs, no economy, no economic growth. Even in United States, since 2007, the Lehman debacle, the United States the average economic growth is 2.5. It is about more than 17 years, about more than 15 years. So, the shortage of jobs, the shortage of economic opportunities, and the shortage of food, and shortage in all major vital resources necessary for the growth of the society and the humankind, all are being extinct, facing extinct, and getting vanished. So this is where we have a university, we have a college, and we are preparing the 21st century leaders, I mean our students. What are we doing now? See, in this place, as our Honorable Secretary said, Norton. We all must be, thankful to Norton. Pachepa, maybe he had dedicated his wealth for this cause after his demise. But who transformed it into an educational, asset, using the wealth, the remains of Pachepa? It was, one of them was Norton. Because Norton, you have to see that he lived here and he led the education system in the Madras Presidency then in the South Indian 4 states, comprised, of Madras Presidency. And he was working along with, he was handpicked by Monroe, the then governor, who died of cholera, I think in 1921-22, I think he died. And had he lived, I assure you that this would have become university. Monroe. But now Monroe died in few years after his, assuming governorship. And at that time, Norton was working along with Monroe, and both of them were trying to make education reach the bottom of the society. And Norton was very much instrumental in Monroe's education policy. Monroe was the governor he first surveyed all South India, the Madras Presidency then. And in terms of communities, scheduled caste, this community, that community, religious segments, And what was the education standard of all segments of life, all walks of life? That was the first ever survey done in education in the whole India. It was a model. And based on that, he wanted to educate the Indians. Before Monroe, no one thought about educating Indians. But he did it. And Norton was behind it. The same Norton, in 1942, he came here and he laid the foundation stone. And at that time, Elphinstone was the governor. Elphinstone was the governor of the Madras Presidency. And Elphinstone's policy was not school education, higher education. He was fostering higher education. And Elphinstone was not in favor of educating Indians. He was in favor of educating the British foreigners. But Norton, in his presidency, in his governorship, Elphinstone's governorship, and he took all measures against Elphinstone, and he wanted to give education to the mass, the Indian, at the bottommost layer. And one of the initiatives was this, Pachepa's College, in 1842. And between 1842 and the end of that 19th century, Pachepa's was one of the 4 top categorized colleges in the whole India. Whole India I'm talking about. And the professor said, our secretary, honorable secretary said Hindu Banaras University. There was a Hindu college in Calcutta at that time, started. And emulating it, another college was started in Banaras. It was also called a Hindu college. And now, all colleges started along with the Pachepa's college have become universities. And Banaras Hindu University now is categorized as IIT. Why not Pachepa's? Why? This is the fundamental question that I'm asking you for your conscience to decide. I think that Tamil Nadu people failed to translate this institution as university. The whole Tamil Nadu people are responsible for this. And at that time, not Hindu colleges there. There were 2, I think 3 top colleges in the whole India were in the Madras Presidency. One was Madras Christian College, another one was Presidency College, and another one was Pachepa's. And always in terms of educational endeavors, in terms of cultural revolutions or activism, social activism, political activism, and independence movement, Pachepa's, there was a fight always between Pachepa's and Presidency in competing with each other to serve the society. Of course, at the beginning, Pachepa was not able to cater education to all walks of life. So those disadvantaged socially were not allowed to study here. That was also a history. But Pachepa's, emerged over all the impediments and obstacles it faced, and it started, importing education to all walks of life. And this is now, till now, it is one of the best colleges in Tamil Nadu. I thought I studied engineering. Had I preferred to study arts and science, I would have studied in Pachepa's only, honestly. Because earlier my parents decided I should study medicine or engineering. I got both. I did not study medicine, but I opted engineering. But my internal ambition, all my emotions were attached to social sciences, economics, and the basic humanities. But I was prevented from doing that. But what I am doing now, after long innings in the academia, what I am doing now is on the humanities. Anyway, this is that college. And there are people, faculty here, I think I heard in the news, I'm following the happenings in Pachepas associated with recruitment, promotions, reforms, academic reforms, a lot of things happening in the last few years since the assumption of office to secretary by Mr. Durekan. I'm following as an outsider on day-to-day basis. It is a historical record that 132 faculty members have been appointed. 132. I think that 132 are here, I guess. Yes? All of you are meritorious. You are meritorious. You are meritorious. That doesn't mean that the previous seniors are not meritorious. They were also meritorious. They paved the way and they brought this institution to this level. And they allowed you to occupy now meritoriously. And by that way that I congratulate you, wish you the best in your endeavors and careers in your future in the academics here. See, this institution had to go to the court about 5 times. Writ petitions, hearings, these, that, a lot of things. But I have to salute the administrator, Justice Parthiban and Mr. Durekan, the secretary, for relentlessly making this happening in this. Probably this is one of the, I asked the principal, every year they are doing orientation, fine. But this orientation is different from the rest. The way this has been, organized, and the manner in which this institution is being run and liberated from the clutches of the political forces and other forces, if any. This institution is truly academically now, marching ahead in its trajectory of academic excellence. And we all have to be thankful to the secretary and the administrator, and also the principal and all senior members of this institution, the principals, everybody, for making this, translating and reforming this institution altogether. And one thing I tell you, I will make my detailed presentation later, but one thing I tell you, why on earth there is orientation like this? See, sometimes we teachers lose our sight of being a teacher and being a learner. And sometimes we feel, after assuming the office, we feel that it is something like going to the class, standing on the dais, and just speaking and addressing, lecturing, and then conducting examinations to evaluate the learning outcomes. And I think that that is not the case. I tell you, I will establish more in my next speech, but I just simply highlighted. A teacher is an all-rounder. He is a mentor, he is a researcher, he is a teacher, he is an orator, he is a writer, and he is more than that, a social leader, and he is a psychologist. And is, in all respect, a teacher is holistically a body, an embodiment of all aspects and futures necessary to prepare, to mentor, to lead the humankind. And that is what I feel that a teacher is about. But are we doing these things? How many of us, please ask ourselves. Let us ask ourselves. I was one of the worst teachers in the world. When I went to United States, I studied in England. And all the while, until my first degree, I studied here in India. And when I went to England, I thought like I became Lord Buddha. Enlightenment, come on. What about? I thought that this was education until my first degree. Suddenly, after going to England, and the government of India sent me for higher studies. And it opened my mind, and I thought that thousands of questions are wavering in my mind. What the hell have we been doing in the last 21 years? It opened my mind. I was enlightened in England. And afterwards, I went to United States. I didn't know about the United States education. The US education system and British education systems are opposite to each other. If you walk like this, they walk like this. All topside down change. Without having any experience, I went to United States and I became professor and I was teaching. And the students went and complained the dean, hey, this guy is Osama bin Laden. And students used to call me as Osama bin Laden. Because most of them I failed. About 70% of the students failed in my class in my first semester of my professorship in United States. Then my students named me Osama bin Laden. At that time he was a known top class terrorist in the world, looked after. And then I started thinking, what am I? Am I a professor or not? And I went 8 training sessions on teaching learning, pedagogy, 8. Over a period of 2 years in the United States. Wherever there were opportunities, I was thinking about what do we mean by education? I got PhD. And before joining there, immediately after PhD, I wrote a book published by 5 top companies, McGraw-Hill, John Wiley, and few companies jointly published my book, my first book in England. But after having all these accomplishments, I was not a good teacher. And students named me Osama bin Laden. And then I was asking myself, am I a teacher or not? Then I felt that I was not a teacher. I didn't know how to set question paper. I didn't know how to teach. There are 60 students, 40 students, 20 students in a given class. Only one teacher and only 50 minutes for one class. And all students, black students, Indian students, white American students, all students, and European students all in my class. It's an international university. And in 50 minutes, we have to inculcate the knowledge among all students. How to do that? What is the pedagogy? What is the pedagogical intervention can we do so that people from all walks of life, with different cognitive capacities, and with different social backgrounds, with different advantages and disadvantages, but one class should teach everybody. And that is what the art, it is not the knowledge and skill that I wanted to achieve to become the best teacher. In 2004, the same Osama bin Laden JAWAHAR NESAN was awarded a best teacher in my university in 2004, in the 2 years, in America. So why I am telling this, transformation of a teacher from unknown to known, from poor to rich, in knowledge and academic excellence, and the best practices and manifestations. As a teacher, how do we do? A teacher should think about it. A teacher is a self-styled leader. A teacher doesn't need a police officer like DGP. The Vice Chancellor nowadays in all universities across India are acting like DGPs, Director General of Police, as if you are all sub-constables. Yeah. And he is the DGP. Do what I say. That is the Vice Chancellor. No. Is Vice Chancellor the wisest man in the university? No. He is there just to lead the university as one among us. In Stanford University, you go now, you will find 25 Nobel laureates anytime sitting as working as a professor in that campus. University of California, Harvard University. You will find at least 30-35 Nobel laureates working as professor now. So the Vice Chancellor of those universities, do you think they are wiser than the Nobel laureates? No. Teachers, assistant professor is doing his job, her job. Vice Chancellor is doing his job and her job. And our sweeper here, they are doing their job. All jobs are equal in a university. If there is no sweeper, it is nasty. And if there is no housekeeping people here, we cannot speak and sit like this. So the complete psychosocial system and infrastructure and the intellectual workforce, the professors, teachers, all of them are equal. Do we have that condition here? No. But whether we have it or not, the professors should have that idea and that longing and belonging to transform herself and themselves to become the best teachers. I think that those who have now stepped into among the 132 joined here, you have a great opportunity. You have a great opportunity. The opportunity is that you are working as one of the top 4 universities 200 years ago, 180 years ago, in the whole India. And you are the teacher of your alumni. You are the teacher of your alumni who? Another Arinyar Anna. You have occupied a place that you are the teacher of Arinyar Anna. Your former student, Ramanuja. And there are many people. Let us have the pride of being a teacher in one of the top, seats of educational establishments in this country. And that pride, if you do not have, I think that you do not fit to become a professor, to work as a professor and teaching faculty here. And with that notion, and with the help of the management, administrator, and with the help of the beloved principals and directors and HODs and senior and faculty members, I hope that the young faculties you have joined here, I think that there is a vast, your intellectual vista is going to boom here. And this is a place where you can explore and where you can experiment, where you can transform yourself as the best possible teacher in the world. And honestly telling you, if you ask me, because I was offered IIT professor in the year 2000 at IIT Chennai, I rejected, I did not join. But unfortunately, I'm an engineering guy. I cannot become professor here, right? So that is the opportunity you have. The reason why I want to become a professor here, though I'm not able to, I'm not qualified, because this is the place where the most needy segment of their life and their daughters and sons are studying here. It is not just simply teaching and learning and researching and proving our academic excellence. More than that, it is serving the society. And this is the place, better than any other establishments in India, this is the place I will have satisfaction if I work here as professorship. And because I have no opportunities in working places like this, I am on the road, voicing for just education for all people, all walks of life in this country. So, to end this, I'm not going to take much, because I'm going to take much more time, maybe more than 1 hour afterwards in my keynote speech. So, I must thank the management and also to all of you for having given me an opportunity to inaugurate this session. And let us sit for the whole day, and there are many more speakers are here in the afternoon session. I think that it will be going to be a rewarding experience for all of us, and we have to rewind the today's discussion so that we will experiment and reform ourselves to become the best possible teacher. Thank you very much.